Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my blessed beloveds out there in Radio Land. Oh wait, it's Video Land now. Oh my God, such a weird transition for me. You are watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, which is an international podcast that I've run for about 5 years now. And during the pandemic, I wanted to see people's faces, like most people. I want to see expressions and get to know you a little better. I love my radio show. It's never going to go away. I'm going to continue that. It's still on today. But this is just a little extra so that we can have face-to-face and eye-to-eye contact. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, most people are locked down, and this was my way of providing another service. So I'm literally going all over the world via the comfort of my home and talking to people and finding out what their tips and tricks are to survive and keep their head above all of the nonsense that is going on right now during the pandemic. People are very emotionally charged right now, and anger seems to be fueling a lot of behaviors that are not productive. So I ask, what's your 5 tips and tricks to survive a pandemic? And quite honestly, instead of using the term pandemic, we can just say storm. What are you doing to get through the storm? And I mean that metaphorically. In this case, actually, the pandemic is kind of a storm. So finding your passion is one of them. Writing a mission statement is another. Getting creative. What things do you have at home that you can use to be creative? None of the stuff you actually have to leave. Routines are hugely important. I cannot emphasize that enough. You know, get up in the morning, get yourself ready, start looking at how you're addressing your day. You know, you might not be going to an office right now, but you're definitely able to get up, get dressed, brush your teeth, throw on deodorant, and look presentable. Some people have been wearing a 3-day-old spaghetti-stained t-shirt and pajama bottoms and covered in potato chips. You know, come on, guys. Vacation time's over. Yes, we're in a pandemic, but that doesn't actually mean routines aren't valuable. They're really good for your mind, your body, and your soul. Some of the other things that we've talked about is gratitude and blessings. What are you doing to treat yourself in this time? Are you really acknowledging how beautiful life is? Are you able to quiet your mind down and give thanks for what you have? This is a really valuable time for that. And my absolute number one go-to is, how are you being of service? What are you doing to help other people? Are you writing letters? Are you checking on your neighbors? Are you reading books on Zoom to your nieces, nephews, grandparents? And yes, grandparents like that too, believe it or not. What are you doing to be of service during this time? And it's a really great time period to reinvent, co-create, and reach out to people. So as I've said, been traveling all over the world to find out what people are doing at this time to get good with themselves, because silence can be scary for some people. Today I have Christina Flatch. I might say her name wrong. Hopefully she won't get upset. And she's
Flack.
What?
It's Flack.
Flack? Oh.
Flack, yes.
The H is silent.
Yes, it is, Christina Flack.
So we're going to talk to her for a little bit and find out what she's doing and what she advises. And, you know, maybe we'll laugh and have a little bit of fun. So, young lady, sorry about the chaos. It has been, I've literally been back to back. I've been dealing with producers and all kinds of things today, and everybody's been running late. It's like the clock and that whole time period a long time ago where you had a sense of balance was disrupted somehow in the universe.
Exactly. Well, thank you for having me on your show today. How are you?
I am very, very well. It's fun. It's fun to do what I do. I just met so many amazing people in the world. And
isn't it amazing and extraordinary how many people there are in the world just doing wonderful, fabulous things? It's really great to see.
Yeah, and the excitement is when you go on a social media diet and you go to other things that are positive and good, your body feels good and your skin feels good. And just
I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I feel like, especially now, we need to stay on our normal schedules. Wake up at your normal time, get dressed, make your bed, eat well, exercise, what are you doing to help the world? What are you doing? I mean, we've been given some very sour lemons, and I think we can make amazing lemonade if we choose. But it's definitely a choice that we need to make. So I am trying every day to be my best self and to be of service and to help others and, get this time past us so we can move forward.
So I have the privilege of knowing what your bio is, and yet there's over 200,000 people that listen to my radio show that are starting to connect to the blog that don't. So who are you? What do you do? And what inspires you to be you?
Well, my name's Christina Flack. I am the founder and creator and CEO of Pretty Girl Makeup. I'm a celebrity makeup artist. I am a mother of 5. I am a sepsis awareness advocate, and I've become a grief expert.
Girl, you got it all going on. You could get happy with just a little bit of lipstick. I'm telling you, I'm a lipstick girl. Everybody knows what kind of mood I'm in with the color of my lipstick. They know.
Oh, I love that.
They know. They see it's bright red, I'm fiery.
Good, I like it.
So 5 children, are they all little, big, medium?
They're big. I'm the littlest one in my family now, which is kind of funny. My oldest is 26. She lives in London. She's a fashion designer. Melania Rose graduated from NYU Film School. She's a screenwriter in LA. Nikolai is in college playing golf. He's 19. And my littlest is Ben, and he is 13. He's in 7th grade.
13. Yeah, mine's getting ready to turn 15, and she is the ruler of her mom. She loves.
Oh, yes.
She loves to tell me what I'm supposed to do and not supposed to do.
And you're annoying and random. Have you heard that one yet?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And it cracks me up because, I just look at her and I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember being like that.
I know. It's such a hard time.
25 really... and like all the information just fell out of my head. I think I was the person on the planet.
Yes, it's definitely a challenge. My agent will joke. She'll say, oh, I've got a client for you. It's a celebrity and they're a little challenging. And I said, girl, I survived teenage daughters. Nothing you can do or give to me is going to scare me more than teenage daughters. So
talk to me about sepsis. What is your interest there and why? What triggered, because that's a very unique thing to be interested in.
Absolutely. So I was married to Ken Flack. He was the #1 doubles player in the world in tennis with his partner Rob Seguso during the 80s and 90s. They won a gold medal in Seoul. They'd won Wimbledon. They were on the Davis Cup team for 9 years. They were really amazing. They were like, before the Bryan brothers, it was Flack and Seguso. My husband and I were very happily married for 8 years before he got bronchitis that turned into pneumonia. And then he got sepsis and he passed away in 4 days. So to back up a bit, my husband, we were with Kaiser Permanente, which is out here in California. They are our medical group. Their protocol is that you call to speak to an advice nurse, and then they determine if you're going to if you're going to come and see the doctor or speak with the doctor. So my husband had said that he had this orangey mucus in his chest and lungs. He had a fever. Everything hurt. He had glass in his chest. He was just I said he had never felt worse in his life. His doctor, John Culbertson, called him and said, I'm going to give you a cough medicine with codeine and an inhaler and no antibiotic, which I thought was very strange because when you have orangey mucus coming out of you and everything, you need an antibiotic to counter that. What I found out was with cough medicine with codeine, you think, oh, I'm going to take cough medicine with codeine and I'm going to wake up in the morning because I'm so zonked out in sleep. It's actually the opposite. If you have an infection and you take cough medicine with codeine, it's going to suppress your breathing so slow that it makes the infection grow at an insanely rapid rate. So that bronchitis that turned into pneumonia turned into sepsis. So when he woke up in the morning, he was spitting up blood. I rushed him to the Kaiser Permanente Hospital in San Rafael, California, and he was put on life support within 2 hours and still no antibiotic. If he had been given an antibiotic and he'd been seen, he would be alive today. And it is criminal to me that these people are allowed to doctor over the phone, that they are, Kaiser Permanente builds into their business plan loss of life. And they reward their doctors for not seeing patients, which I think is absolutely disgusting. I would love to see change in that medical system. And, I don't want anyone else to go through what myself and my children are going through, of losing Ken, because the world is not the same for us since he's been gone.
So 2 questions, and answer them in the rhythm that you choose.
Okay.
Define sepsis, 1,
Okay.
and then 2, how
I'll answer the first question, and then you can think about how you want to ask the next question. So sepsis is an infection of the blood that you can get it anyway through a cough. You could get it through going, a cut in your mouth at the dentist, or cut hand, or a cough, or any type of infection that's in your body. It is an infection of the blood that attacks your organs. So once it gets into your system and attacks your organs, they all shut down, and very quickly. So when I spoke to you earlier about having called Kaiser Permanente and Dr. Culbertson, that was on a Wednesday that we called. On Thursday, I took him into the emergency. By Monday, his arms and legs had turned black, and we took him off life support. It happened that fast. So that is why now I'm urging people to get to a doctor, get a blood test, and get on an antibiotic if you indeed are septic, because sepsis is a very ugly, unforgiving illness. You don't have a tomorrow. You're not going to wake up tomorrow. You'll die. So it's so important, if you have any of the signs, which your listeners can go to sepsis.org. They have a little square thing that says time. And what time is on sepsis.org is T is for temperature. You can be either very hot or very cold. I is for infection and in some form of your body. M is for mental decline, and E is for excruciating pain. You feel like you're dying because you are dying. And so if you have any of those signs, get to an emergency or to your doctor, get a blood test, sometimes they'll say, oh, well, you don't have all the signs. It doesn't matter. If you think you have one of the signs, just get a blood test. It's 20 minutes, and then they can put you on the, appropriate antibiotic protocol, and there won't be loss of life like I've had.
What I was trying to articulate was really, you're a mom, you've got 5 kids, you've seen pretty much everything by now. Your mom flags must have just been super high at this time. Like, everything was going really fast. Wow. I mean, it was incredible.
I just, the thing was, I really, Ken and I really respect the medical profession. If the doctor said he didn't need an antibiotic, I did question Ken. I said, well, that's odd. Like, why would you? And I can remember exactly where I was in the car. I was on my way to go to Pilates, and he called and said, babe, can you go pick up my cough medicine and inhaler? And I said, well, what about the antibiotic? And he said, oh, the doctor says, Dr. Culbertson says I don't need it. It's just, I'll be fine. And I thought, that's odd, but what am I going to do? It didn't occur to me to question that. So now that I've had this experience, anytime that my mommy flag goes up, I am going to say something, because I don't want to lose one more person in my life to something that can be prevented. And
what's really bizarre about that whole thing is I have had pneumonia twice since this pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
Every time I go out, I'm an essential employee, but every time I go out, it's there. And that's the very first thing that they give me is a Z-Pak. Boom. And were you able to do any legal repercussions with that?
I have an attorney, and that we have a malpractice lawsuit against Kaiser Permanente and Dr. Culbertson, because it's criminal to me that they were, first of all, not seeing if my husband had been seen, if he had been given the right antibiotic because of the mucus, that he was saying that he had this orange mucus and in his infection in his body, he would be alive. And it's not right. You can't reward doctors for not seeing patients. I think it's just utterly preposterous. It's ridiculous. And there's only going to be more loss of life if there's not change. So, you know, I have lost the love of my life, my best friend in the world. So I am on my, you know, my little mommy Russian broomstick crusade to make change. What did my husband used to say? There is nothing worse than, you know, a woman, or the wrath of a woman when she's mad. And that's certainly how I feel. You know, you know, it's been 2.5 years and I still keep waiting to like look out the window and see if, you know, he's coming home. And if I hear him, you know, I don't know if you learn to live with the pain and the loss, but you don't really ever get over it. It's just more manageable.
Yeah.
I speak about grief is an interesting thing. I speak about that a lot lately. I went to grief camp at Canyon Ranch, which was very helpful, but very painful at the same time. And what it taught me was that everyone grieves differently and no one's grief is more important than anyone else's. But I've also thought about it, and the way I've interpreted grief and how I'm handling it is I know and I can feel Ken's presence and my son Bo's presence. So I know that it would be so hard, and it is hard for him when I'm having, and believe me, I have plenty of meltdowns and I'm crying and I'm sad. I know it must be excruciating for him to be looking down at, you know, me and his children and our friends when he sees how sad we are. So if we can think of grief in those terms, that if you know that your loved one is there looking over you, and if they're not seeing you living to be your highest self and you know, helping other people have a better life, with, you know, having purpose in your life and love in your life, and, you know, I think it would be really hard for them. So if you can imagine that your loved one is watching you and that you just being in this state of constant negative grief, it would be really hard for them to watch. So it's helped me knowing that Ken is watching, that I try to wake up and put a smile on my face and, you know, do interviews and run my company and photo shoots and try to be the best mother and friend that I can be, and have as happy life as I can have, even though he's not here with me anymore.
Do you feel like what's going on in the world right now is triggering more of that grief? Because, I mean, it's still pretty fresh, 2 years after.
Yes. Well, I think, you know, just as you spoke about earlier, I think that, you know, the solitude, the being alone so much, I can get very distracted being a makeup artist, you know, traveling to different shoots and, you know, running my business and having meetings and my kids and everything. But when I've had to like really stay home, and it's kind of like the universe giving us a little time out, I have had time to reflect on my life and deal more with my grief. And yes, it is harder. And, you know, you're alone in the house and, you know, he isn't here and I'm alone. You know, my kids are all grown, you know, and then they're with their other dad part of the time. So I'm alone a lot more than usual. And my grief feels a lot more intense right now. That's for certain.
That's something that has actually been quite phenomenal as I travel to all of these different parts of the world, speaking to various people about their experience. And one of the things that I found most common is because we're quiet, because we're peaceful, we're not shoving stuff down our throats and being busy and fast foody. A lot of stuff is really coming up for people. And so I think it's very empowering for a woman who is still grieving and still pretty pissed off, right? So about the way things happened, but you're foraging, you're paving a path. You're kind of like a maverick in your actions, because you're trying to enhance other people's lives and at least explain what the heck happened so that people are more aware that this is a possibility.
Absolutely.
And a blood test is easy. I mean,
it's so easy. It's not a hard thing. It's not a hard thing. And, you know, I also think because I have, you know, 4 other living children, I want them to lead a healthy, happy life. And the best thing that I can do to help them do that is to lead by example. If they see that I am hardworking and that I'm not doing drugs and drinking and I'm doing for others. I started an educational fund at the Northern Lights School for Ken and for Bo. And there's a garden at the Ed McGuire School in Mill Valley that's called the Bo Friedman Outdoor Classroom. I am trying to make change in the best possible way I can, in the little ways that I can. And I think that helps my children with their grieving as well. We have all been affected, Ken's children, my children. And it's very hard for all of us, but I think the best way is for us to serve others. I think that is a nice way to do that. And I want to honor my husband. My husband had a spectacular career in life. And I think he deserves to be remembered in a positive way. And I can honor him by doing this. And then it helps me with my grieving.
Now, we didn't touch base as to what happened with Bo.
My little Bo. So Bo is a twin. He and Ben were born in August, and on Christmas Day, 13 years ago, actually it's going to be 14 this Christmas Day, Bo passed away from SIDS. And so, it was horrific for our entire family. And so I got divorced after that. And then a few years later, I met Ken and we got married. But Ken also helped. Ken came into our lives, my ex-husband, mine, and my kid's life, and he helped heal all of us. My daughter Melania said that. She's like, Mom, she calls her biological dad and Ken daddy. And she's like, Daddy came into our life and helped us heal after Bo died, and you smiled and laughed again. And until before that, you hadn't. So I'll always be grateful to Ken for, helping heal my heart.
Well, it's a beautiful story. I mean, you've gone through some pretty tough things. Most women would struggle to get past the emotionality of both. And, on top of that, Christmas Day, my goodness, woman.
I know, right? Woo! You're like, yeah, anything else? I think because I have children, I don't want to see my, and you have children. It's like when your children are happy, you're happy. So when I'm seeing that my kids aren't doing well, if they're not happy, it hurts my heart. And so if I can, my son, Ben, who's Bo's twin, there's a golf tournament every October for the Northern Lights School where we have the 2 educational funds. And Ben, for the last 4 years, has gone on a hole, and he's young. He's just 13. He goes on a hole to raise money for his brother and his dad's funds. And this past October, he raised $35,500.
Shut up. Go, Ben. Go, Ben.
I know. Go, Ben. And I just feel that, Ben learning to serve others at such a young age is going to be with him the rest of his life. $35,500. Okay. Yes, it's a ton of money, but it's actually more than that. That is 3 children are able to go to private school for a year because of $35,500. And so that changes that child's life, that family's life, that community, and the world by that one act of my son. And I'm so proud of him. And I just know how good it makes him feel to feel that, he knows he has a very privileged life, and to help children that don't have quite as much as he does, I know makes him feel good. So
my biggest expression that I live for is, you don't know what you don't know until you know. And you don't know what it's like to lose a husband until you lose a husband. You don't know what it's like to lose him in a circumstance as yours, where it was very irresponsible sounding.
Absolutely.
And when you finally have that experience, you're able to put it in your tool belt and do something with it. And it sounds very clearly that you and your family are making paths to help other people hopefully not experience that. And if they do, at least they know that you will get through it. You will get above and beyond it.
Absolutely. I met, and I've been really lucky that I've met people, they've heard my interviews on TV or like podcasts like yours. And I've gotten, emails and phone calls from people saying, I think my husband's septic, and one friend of mine, she's now my friend. She was, I didn't know her before. She sent me a note on Facebook saying, I think my husband's septic, but I'm not sure. And I said, get him to the hospital. And she did. And they didn't want to give him the blood test because he didn't have every one of the symptoms. And she insisted, and he was septic. And she called me and she's like, oh my gosh, I would have been grieving with you if I hadn't, heard your interviews. And I'm so grateful. Sadly enough, that same friend of mine lost her husband, oddly enough, 2 years to the day of Ken's death from sepsis. He got it again. And sadly, he didn't survive this time. And so now she's unfortunately in, feeling how I feel. And it breaks my heart. I don't want anyone to feel this ache and this pain in my heart and my soul. It's just, if I can help anyone, and help with the grieving process or help with sepsis, that really makes me feel great. And, I'm really grateful that I have a job as a makeup artist and as a CEO that I love. And it's a nice distraction for me to, put my focus and attention onto something besides just thinking about how much I miss my husband.
Are you doing anything online right now? Tutorials or anything exciting like that for some of the younger kids that are stuck
I actually am. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, but on ChristinaFlack.com and PrettyGirlMakeup.com, I am doing virtual Zoom makeup lessons, private and group. So, I don't normally have that amount of time, but since, we're shut in right now, I'm able to do something that I normally wouldn't do. So like I mentioned earlier, yes, we've been given very sour lemons, but I'm choosing to try and make some very sweet lemonade by doing that, the makeup lessons. I redid my website, I redid my portfolio. I've come out with the hand sanitizer. I'm trying to do, raise more and more awareness, doing interviews every day because, especially with this disease, the coronavirus, there's going to be more cases of sepsis. So if people are made aware that, the signs of sepsis, well, hopefully we won't lose more people. So that's my way of giving back.
So tips and tricks to keep your head above the water during this time. Do you have any before we have to let you go?
I think, try and eat. I think it's the time to really buckle down and be very self-disciplined. Try and wake up a little early, keep your house and life in order, do something different. You've got this time. We don't normally have all this time. Like what is something that you can do that you've been wanting to do that you just normally don't have time for? And that's what I would urge people to do. There's no reason why you can't go outside, get some fresh air and exercise. We really try not to eat a lot of sugar and a lot of caffeine, and just try and do, just like you mentioned earlier in the beginning of the interview, like what can you do to help someone at least once a day? If you can do it more, well, that's even better. But if you can help someone else, it's going to just make this time go faster. And maybe you can look back on this time as not such a horrible experience, but as a time where, wow, I got this done and I helped this person. And I've, oftentimes we have all kinds of like makeup samples or makeup or spa products bath products that we're not using. I've been putting them in little bags with a bow and then dropping them at people's house. And so they have a little spa experience. So everyone can do their little bit, maybe cook for someone, or just even a FaceTime call, I think is really important to see a face. I think it's very hard to not have human contact. And if you can, I do this with my daughter, Melania, that's in London. I need to see her face because I just do. And it doesn't make me feel like she's so far away.
It's really cool that you're doing that. And I have to dish a little bit because you don't know very much about me, but my 14-year-old daughter was just accepted into cosmetology school, and she starts in August. So she's
congratulations.
She's doing a cosmetology school on top of getting her high school diploma. So yeah, she's pretty amazing.
Bravo, mama.
She wants to become a dermatologist. That's her ultimate goal. And like you.
How wonderful at such a young age that she knows what she wants. And that's how my daughter Melania was, and my daughter Rose, like at a young age, like she knew she wanted to be a fashion designer. Rose knew she wanted to be a writer, and they are. So how lucky are they to be so young to know what they want to do? It takes the rest of us, until our 20s, 30s, 40s to figure out what we want to do. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I figured that would be fun for you, because
I love it.
when you do your videos and such, I'll have to have her check you out on your little tutorials. It really inspires and sparks the younger crowd, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm loving the fact that you're doing that. So I'll have Chloe check you out. That'll be really fun.
Oh, I love that name, Chloe. That's a beautiful name.
I named her after Demeter. I'm a big nerd. Demeter, when she would come to Earth to frolic with the boys, you know how the gods always had their little affairs, she would tell them her name was Chloe. And it means verdant. It's a gardening term. But she's quite the flower. Very excited.
Oh, I love that. Well, I have a daughter named Rose, so I love flowers too.
I did too. So give us your information again, and I know I have it somewhere in my email. So when I upload this video tonight, it'll come up on Sunday at noon Eastern.
Okay.
And that way they have your information.
Okay. So I'll, and I will give a discount code for your listeners. What would you like it to be?
Just use my name. It's easy.
Okay.
Rusty.
Okay, perfect. So I'll give a 15% discount code for forever with your name. So anytime, that'll be great. And thank you for having me. I'm sorry about the mix up. That was all crazy. You're my 5th interview today.
You are my 5th or 6th interview today. And I had 2 producers. So, and you know what that's like. And it's really exciting and it's really scary, and, and I haven't eaten. So my equilibrium.
Oh, gotta go
how
eat.
This goes.
I do. I had a green juice right before we got on, and it is important. If you ever know anyone else that would, like me to be on their show or whatever, please give them my name, and I would really,
yeah, absolutely. I'll send out the information. I have a few other people that do shows.
That's great.
Actually was on a game show in England called Funky Thinkers. If that's something you're interested in, I can send Jonathan your information.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
It was so much fun. It was
I love
fun.
it. I would love that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing what you're doing. And hopefully throughout all of this, more lives will be saved. More children can go to private school if they choose to. And who knows what's going to come out of this? We never know. I just think it's a blessing in a lot of ways, because we get to take a little reset.
I agree. I think it is too. I hope it's, again, happiness is a choice, and we can choose to be happy, or we can choose to just, believe me, I have a lot of frustration with this. I think it's insane to obliterate an economy, but for the chances of you, I saw a statistic, the chances of you getting coronavirus and dying from it are 0.003. It's like, I don't know.
We are not going to know the truth behind all of this until the end.
No, we're not. It's just,
so we might as well just get good with what it is and do the best that we can for ourselves, for our families, for our community, and just pave forward, because I think we'll have a lot of answers, and
the truth always comes out.
The truth always comes out, but out of everything, out of all of that stuff, what are we doing to get our priorities straight? And I think if we can just focus on that piece and not the other stuff.
Yeah, I've stopped watching the news. I think our minds are incredibly powerful, but incredibly fragile at the same time. So if you're constantly being told you're going to get sick and die, well, your brain thinks it needs to get sick and die. And so I just try to not watch it, because what's it gonna do?
I don't believe in TV at all. So
yeah.
It's just,
I like funny TV, I like funny or informative, I want happiness. I don't want to see doom and gloom. There's enough in the world. I want to make something that's going to make me laugh or think in a positive way. So anyway.
Absolutely. You're in the right place. That's for sure. Yeah. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to close out, and thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great to meet you, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you. And I appreciate you referring me to anyone. That's awesome. That's really, really cool. Thank you. Bye, darling. Bye.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and I'm Rusty. And gosh, do we have so much to learn about other people and their lives and the shoes that they wear. or don't wear. Sometimes people don't even have the money for shoes, but that's a different topic for another show. So what are the takeaways that you have? You have passion. You have listening to your gut is really the biggest takeaway that I got from today's show. She had the red flags. He had the red flags, but he wasn't feeling good. So he was just willing to do what needed to be done because he just couldn't operate at full capacity. But she had the flags and they had the questions, and the disease was so rapid, there wasn't time to counteract the neglect, I would say. Probably not a legal thing that I should say, but I did. But what do you take from that? You take the sadness and the hurt and the pain, and you build a fire inside of yourself. And I talk about this when I'm interviewed about my story. You just take it as embers and you put it inside and you straighten up and you soldier forward, because some of this stuff, most of this stuff, people don't have to go through. We're far too smart. We have so much access to information. Our medical technology is mind-boggling. It's so good right now. So unnecessary. And if you're not feeling good, reach out to your doctor. I love telemedicine personally, but I also know that I have to ask questions because not everybody's going to get it right. And you are the largest advocate for your own self-help. Don't ever let anybody deny you that. Check her link out. Watch her tutorials. Chloe's going to have a blast that I even talked to some makeup lady because I don't do makeup at all, but it'll be fun for her. And maybe we'll have her back on and she can actually tell me what kind of eyeshadow I'm supposed to wear because I have no idea. I'm not that person, you know. Know that you're beautiful. Know that you're loved. Be in service to others. And don't forget to be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Social media diet. No TV. You know, have a bonbon or two. I'm not judging. This is the time. Just love yourself, learn about yourself, and get out there and do something fun and different. Until next time, you're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty.